Hello everyone, I'm Ray10k and this is my first attempt at a Let's Play, more specifically of the Revolution 3 mod pack for Minecraft 7.10. I started playing this particular pack while it was still Revolution 2 and I did a little bit of building up, so we'll start off with a little show of what I've got, which isn't much because let's face it, this pack is rather grindy and slow to start, but it's still a lot of fun. Especially if you tough it out a bit. So, with that said, let's get started. So, the game's loading, and if you hear some squeaking in the background, just ignore it. That's my pet bird, Philomena. She always likes to be the center of attention. Anyway, this part always takes a while because, hey, it's a mod pack with over 200 mods. What do you expect? Here we go. Welcome to my humble abode. This is actually the second house I built in this pack. First house was, quite frankly, built in the wrong place entirely. It was way too small, not enough space to expand, so yeah, I just moved out. Anyhow, over here I've got a little orchard with berries, which in this pack can mean the difference between life and death, trust me. I'm just gonna harvest the little bits at the top, because you can replant those. Expand the thing. There you go. More bushes. This one's not grown as far yet. That's the little windmill I use to grind my ores, which is another mechanism that this pack changes drastically. And other than that, I will admit this is perhaps the most boring build I could have made, but screw it. I like boring but functional stuff. And it's raining. So, first a few pointers on some of the mechanisms that this pack adds. Food works a lot differently than it usually does. For one thing, your food slowly rots away, and once it hits 100% rotten, it turns into rotten food. You can still eat it, technically, but for one thing, it doesn't fill and doesn't really give you all that much hunger replacement. And second, it's basically like eating zombie flesh. You got a good chance of getting hungry from eating it. The second mechanism is that the natural regeneration of health has been disabled. Meaning if you take damage, you're stuck with it until you eat something. And that's where the berries become important, because as most people who have experimented with Biomes O' Plenty probably already know, you can eat those berries even if you are full on hunger. They just fill up your saturation, the yellow glow around my hunger meter. However, each time you eat a berry, it heals half a heart of health, and since you can grow a lot of berries really fast, it's generally pretty easy to carry a bunch of them with you. Make sure that you are not going to die, and in general have a much better time than you would have otherwise. Anyway, moving on. This is my, this is going to be my general farm for, my main food staples. Right now the potatoes are at growth, gain and strength 10, which means that they're upgraded to the max. My soybeans are upgraded to 888, which used to be the maximum, and I'm currently in the process of upgrading my scallions. Those three ingredients together make, let me look up what it's called again. Potato, what the fuck is a potato? Anyway, use a sweat, please. Yeah, that makes scallion baked potato, which is a lot better than just the regular old potatoes. But as you can see, the scallion baked potatoes yield 2 hunger and give 1 full point of saturation, whereas regular baked potatoes give about half that. So yeah, my plan here is to have a ready supply of everything I need to make those things in pretty much unlimited supply. Anyway, going to take a nap here. And as you'll notice immediately, the rain doesn't stop, which is another mechanism that got added. Rain just comes and goes as it feels like, just as it does in the real world. Anyway, this mod pack adds a whole slew of interesting, creative, and or frustrating mods, the least of which, well, I don't know what the least one is, but Chromatic Craft is definitely a very prominently visible mod throughout gameplay. For one thing, Chromatic Craft adds a bunch of very visible structures to the world. You can see one right across the water there. Those are called pylons. Don't get too close to them, you'll get zapped and probably killed if you're not careful. So yeah, be careful. Chromatic Craft also has a very involved research mechanic. One part that works a bit like Minecraft achievements. Another part that functions through these info fragments that you can find in dungeons, villages, etc. which, under certain conditions, teach you a little something about what's in Chromatic Craft. As you can see, I have 13 pages already. These are all the things I know about, and which I've added to my lexicon. So, yeah, there's that. All in all, Chromatic Craft is a very interesting but very time-consuming mod. It's a mod that heavily rewards exploration and taking your time to take a closer look at what you can see, etc. So yeah, not a mod you should rush through, but more a mod that over time adds a bunch of stuff. From the same mod creator, whose name I'm probably going to butcher because of my Dutchness, Heike, also comes Rotary Craft, which is a tech mod that functions based on making stuff spin. You know, like with engines. It's a mod that's got the reputation of being difficult, confusing, etc. But while I haven't really gotten too far with it, my main experience with it is that it's a mod that, you know, requires a little bit of thought. And most of the math involved is on the level of a bit of division, a bit of multiplication, and you're done. So not really all that hard. In any case, enough talking about what can be done, time to actually do stuff. As you can see, my garden is a bit small, and I still have those scallions and soybeans, which are not yet up to their full potential. So, the first thing I wanted to do today is to build a small garden off to the side, dedicated to breeding up my crops to an acceptable level. Which is actually pretty easy, but a little bit involved, because you gotta check every single seed. I'm going to stop the recording here, do a little bit of exploring, a little bit of preparation, and I'll be back soon. Bye! Here we go again. As you can see, I've cleared out a little bit of space, put down some guidelines for myself, and, well, let's get building. The basic idea I'm going for here is to make a little garden with 4 patches of 3x3, so I can easily breed up my crops. The method I usually use is to have, you know, a 3x3 square with the crops on the midpoints, like here, 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 and here. Don't worry, I'm going to replace these with something else anyway, so yeah. By the way, that's something one of the mods at Futurum. This is technically, okay, this is actually a 7.10 mod pack, but at Futurum adds a few mods that add little things from future additions to Minecraft, from a 1.8, 1.9, maybe 1.10. Time will tell when that mod updates. In any case, grass path, nice for decoration. Back to what I was saying. My strategy is to usually have the crops here, 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 and here. And once they're fully grown, put cross crops here, here, on the other 5 spots. So I have 5 chances of crossbreeding, and in the middle, 1 crop that can crossbreed with all 4 parents. Like if I need to, I can even switch to only putting cross crop in the middle, so I get the best chances for higher stats from all 4 parent crops. But that's not here nor now. What is here and now is that I'm going to spend a little time building, and I'll be back again. Since I'm probably going to be busy building for a while anyway, I figured why not try and chat a bit while I do it. As you can now see, I'm building a hallway that connects to the main building with these stone lanterns along the way. I'm using stone lanterns rather than torches for 2 reasons. One, because of the way Enviromine, one of the mods, is set up, torches burn out in this pack. More importantly, torches also set wood on fire, and I'd rather not burn down the wood I use to make my charcoal and such with. So yeah. Also, the reason I'm making this hallway is because I just don't want to get mobbed by a bunch of mobs. And again, don't mind the sounds in the background. My bird, Philomena, is, well, being a little bird. Anyway, moving on. I'm pretty sure I don't have enough stone to make the entire wall, but I've got more cooking up anyway, so I'll have to drop by there for a moment while I'm doing this. As you can see, the stack in my hand automatically refills. That comes from this builder's backpack, which contains, in this case, 20 blocks of stone brick, which automatically refills the stack in my hand as I use it. Just very convenient. Those backpacks are also pretty easy to make once you've got access to wool. So yeah, I recommend either building up some kind of plant that can eventually produce wool. I myself have got cotton set up to 888. Which again used to be the maximum, but not anymore, so yeah, I'll have to breed that one up to something a little stronger. But yeah, this is pretty much the entire area done on the inside. However, there's one thing I really want to add, and that is some protection against spiders. Nothing, and I repeat, well, okay, perhaps not nothing, but very few things as annoying as being highly focused on your work, growing your crops up, and then getting interrupted by a spider that just says, "Nice wall you've got there." Anyway, I'm gonna drop in now. Yeah, my nether portal, got a few crystal lamps from Chromatic Crafts. I crafted a bunch for a certain mechanic we'll get into in a moment. or more likely in a future episode. Anyway, I'm digging this little tunnel to get a bit of cobblestone, and as you can see, the game occasionally lags a little bit. Nothing to worry about, it'll come back eventually. Anyway, oh, more Chromaticraft stuff. Those stones, by the way, are not visible when you start the game. You gotta know a few things about Chromaticraft before they show up. Again, the achievement-like research mechanic I mentioned before. Anyway, digging a hole, digging a hole, digging a hole. Be back later. Back at it again. This time I've got some stairs, which I'm going to use to make my little farm a little bit more spider-proof. Not sure how well this works, but hey, it's better than nothing, and in the other farm area it works decently well, I think. Anyhow, as you can see, it's getting night. So long as the clock in the top left corner, oh darn it, is still yellow, it's okay, but once it turns grey I really gotta hurry and head home. So yeah, let me just finish this up and I'll take a quick nap. Thankfully it's not exactly rocket science, so yeah. Also, please remind me to add a few extra doors. Oh hey, it's an evil player. Those are mobs added by some mod that look like certain players, but are in fact evil mobs. Woo! Good night. Anyway, with all of that silliness out of the way, right now I need a certain resource. Compost. How do you get compost? Well, you throw stuff into the compost bin and let it turn into compost there. The compost bin only accepts stuff that's either grown or comes from mobs, and it slowly turns it into, well, that compost stuff you just saw. Compost is pretty useful because you can turn it, because with it you can turn regular old dirt into garden soil, which plants really like and which they grow extra fast on. Let me just sort out a little bit of my inventory. I know my storage system is one big old mess. I'll try to improve as the series goes on. And, well, deal with it. That's the most I can tell you. Sorry. Anyway. Let me just grab a little bit of dirt. There we go, plenty. And there I have it. 18 garden soil. I'll also need a few other things, a few objects, and a whole unbelievably large load of sticks. But not yet. Right now I'm making a few things that will make the growing of those better crops a whole lot easier in the long run. Because, well, okay, growing crops up requires that you plant a few crops, let them grow up, then plant some sticks near them, which is something that the mod AgriCraft adds. Actually, let me put its proper place, like that. And yeah, getting all that stuff can be a hassle and a half. Especially since most increases are to the effect of +1 of this, -2 of that. So the system I usually stick with is one where I only select the crops that have straight upgrades, as in crops that are better or equal in every statistic to the crops next to them. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Seed analyzer. Ooh. Oh dear, I don't have everything on me. Sticks. Of course it's sticks. Yeah, also the crafting sounds added by mod. And I need a piece of wood. Oh, come on! Then what do I need? See, I can just make it. Stop lying, right? Anyway, seed analyzer and compost bin. Growing crops is the kind of work where you get a lot of, resources that didn't quite make the cut. So a lot of seeds that are not as good as others. So yeah, having a way to get rid of the seeds is always useful. Speaking of always useful, handheld crafting tool. A crafting space in your backpack pocket. Ever useful when you just need a wooden hoe to till the soil. Strangely enough, it doesn't seem to be requiring durability to till this garden soil. Anyway, where shall I set these up? This one goes straight in the middle, and this one to the back wall. Yeah, pretty useful. Like that. I like. Anyhow, to grow stuff in AgriCraft, you need two things: some seeds and more crop sticks than, ironically, you can shake a stick at, especially if you intend to grow stuff up to 10, 10, 10, which means 10 strength, 10 gain. Hold on, let me look at that for a moment. Okay, 10 growth, 10 gain, 10 strength. Each of those statistics tells something about how good that particular plant is. Growth indicates how fast it grows up, gain, how many resources you get from harvesting it, and strength, how well it can fight off weeds growing next to it, which is a constant pain in the backside. Anyway, 3 stacks of crops will not get me very far, but it at least will get me started. So, the first 2 things I'm going to grow up are the soybeans, which are already part of the way there, and my scallions, which still have a ways to go. Let's be frank here. Not gonna need that immediately. Not gonna need that. I'm gonna need those two. They'll disappear on their own. Anyway, let me just set this place up. Mistake. Squeaking you currently hear in the background is Philomena playing with a bell hanging in her cage. Anyway, this is the setup I described before, the setup I usually use, and now we play the waiting game. I'll just cut out this little bit, so yeah, we'll get to the good bit in a moment. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. Since the soybeans were already somewhat grown, they grew up a whole lot faster than the scallions, which are only just starting to get past the initial stages. Anyway, since these two are now mature, I can start crossbreeding them by putting down one crop stick and then putting another crop stick on that crop stick to create one of these crossbreeding things. In time, one of two things can happen here. Either the two soybeans grow a new soybean there, or that happens and weeds sprout. I haven't got my little rake on me, so I'll just rake it and replace it. Weeds are a problem, okay? They can grow on any open set of crops, and when they do, yeah, it's not fun. Let me just put it that way. Because they can also grow over your existing plants, which is where that strength modifier comes into play. The higher the strength, the less likely they are to override it. Still, if you're not careful, you can walk away from your garden and come back to find that it's all overgrown with weeds and that all the effort you put into growing up your crops has gone to waste. And yes, that happened to me at least once. Anyway, scallions are also mature, so time to grow them a crossbreed. And here we go, first soybean crossbreed. So, problem is now that this soybean is unidentified. I don't know what the statistics are, which is where the seed analyzer comes into play. So, this one's 877, which is objectively worse than the 888 I have for all of these. So this one goes into the compost bin. Sorry, you didn't make the cut. Goodbye. Let's see if this scallion did better. The scallions are a lot less far ahead, are a lot less far along the growing, so I have to check each one by one manually. This one is objectively worse than all of them though, so never mind that. Another one of the soybeans has grown, and yeah. Anyway, as you can see, this is both a slow and highly involved process. It's basically the advanced version of the waiting game. 1, 2, 4. The 214. Oh, this one's objectively worse than that, so that one goes out. This one goes in, and the old one goes into the trash can. Sorry, composting bin. More weeds grow here. More actual plants grow there. I'm going to leave the middle one open for now to keep myself from getting completely overwhelmed. And these two are growing at their own glacial pace. 7 across the board, so you go into the trash. Anything below 8 is immediately thrown away because it's always worse than what I have. For the soybeans anyway. 7, 7, 9. 9 is higher than 8, but the 7s mean that I'd go back on the other two statistics, so I'm going to skip out on that one. Again, I only pick seeds that are objectively better than the already planted seeds in every way. Objectively better in a... actually, bleh, words are hard. I only pick the seeds that are objectively better in one statistic and at least as good in both others. This one's objectively worse in the other two, so it goes down. Oh, and sometimes when you take out crops, a little glitch happens and it doesn't update. And also sometimes you get tall grass and such from removing the weeds. Moving on. This can take a while, and I won't bore you with me running around like my head is on fire in this teeny tiny garden. So yeah, see you in a bit when I've got a little bit of progress. Bye! So, that took literally 2 days to get to, but now I have a soybean seed level 10. Well, 10, 10, 10 technically. But anyway, from this point on, everything that isn't 10, 10, 10 will immediately go into the trash. As you can see, I have set up the middle one. You know, at this point it doesn't really matter all that much anymore. And I'm just going to let this 10, 10, 10 grow up. Let me check if any of these unidentified ones are 10, 10, 10. Not this one. And not that one. Too bad. Additionally, I have also made 2 more patches of garden soil. Not going to plant something just yet because things are getting a bit hectic here as far as gardening can get hectic. And yeah, also got a bunch of compost there. Nothing special about that. 2, 2, 4, that one goes in the trash because, well, I remember that the lowest I have on growth is 3 for these, so anything with growth 2 is per definition worse than everything else. Now, for those of you who know a bit about AgriCraft, you might be wondering, why don't I have the book there? Simple, I'm only growing stuff here that I already have researched. I'm not growing new plants here, just growing up existing plants. This one goes here. And as you can see, weeds are sprouting bloody everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. In any case, I'm still juggling both the soybeans and the scallions. Soybeans are now at the point where everything besides 10, 10, 10 immediately gets thrown into the trash, and, well, scallions are somewhere in the middle right now. There's always one stat that lags behind the rest for a while, in this case gain, I think. 434, no. Yeah, that's one, that's an improvement. Anyway, since I still have got quite a lot of growing to do, I'll cut out the video here again and get back once I've got all 10, 10, 10 on the soybeans. See you in a bit. Okay, after entirely too much time, I finally got 16 soybeans at growth 10, 10, 10. Growth gain strength 10, 10, 10 anyway. And the scallions are doing fairly nicely as well. Gain is lagging behind a little bit, but I'll deal with that later off camera again. Of course I still have these 4, but I'm leaving those here in case I get trouble with weeds growing everywhere, and consider them backup. In any case, this is the good old main garden, so here they go down. Okay, just give me a moment. The reason I plant them one by one is because sometimes crop sticks will start growing weeds without having even a cross crop. Anyway, that's 2/3 of my garden done. I'll have to finish the last third off screen, deal with this chucklehead. And yeah. Spiders are the worst here. Let me tell you. Anyway, going to do a little more scanning because, hey, the seeds are here anyway. So that one goes straight into the trash. Getting 3 is just not enough. 846. No. No. This one, in the meantime, I'll just dismantle completely and put the seeds in some place safe so they don't rot away or get pushed out of the way by weeds. Nothing new or interesting. Nothing new or interesting. And yes, I am well aware that 9910 is still pretty darn good, but I'm only looking for the best right now. Eight, 4, 5. No, no, no. So yeah. Oh, by the way, 34 compost. It takes 8 items to get 1 piece of compost, so do the math. I threw away at least 2 stacks of stuff to get all that. Anyway, just going to put away these soybean seeds. Again, backup. Always helps to have some backup strategy. And, well, that's gonna be it for now. Next time I'm going to show you, all of you, a little bit about how mining works in this pack. I wasn't aware that fermented spider eyes could rot even further. Oh well. Anyway, like I was saying, I'll show a bit of mining, and then it's up to you lot. Do you want me to either try to get some basic Botania stuff going, or do you want me to start building up my Wizard's Tower and begin doing some Thaumcraft stuff? Let me know in the comments, let me know what you think, and until next time, goodbye!